How can you actually improve your egg quality? Let's break it down. Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Emma Mary. I'm a board-certified gynecologist, a fertility specialist, and one of the most common questions I hear from women everywhere is this. How do you actually improve your egg quality? What does it take to have better quality eggs? And what does the term egg quality even really mean? Is it the same thing as your AMH level or your ovarian reserve? In this video, I'm going to simplify this for you in a clear, quick, and actionable way. But before we dive into the details, I want to mention that this channel is dedicated to spreading honest, reliable information about your reproductive health and fertility journey. If you find this helpful, I would genuinely appreciate it if you would subscribe and join our community. Also, for those of you who want to take a deeper dive, I have created a comprehensive course called the Enhance Your Natural Fertility course, as well as an IVF-specific course. You can check those out at nataliecrawfordmd.com/courses to learn more about what might be right for you. Okay, let's get into the science. First and foremost, to understand how to improve egg quality, we have to first grasp what egg quality actually means at a cellular level. When we talk about egg quality in medical terms, we are essentially talking about the genetics, the DNA, inside that single egg cell. Let's think about your egg for a moment. Your egg contains all of your chromosomes. A typical female karyotype is 46XX, and those chromosomes are housed inside your egg from the very moment you were born. Now, here is a fascinating biological detail. These chromosomes are connected to each other as 23X and 23X, and they are held together in this very specific, perfect alignment. This precise state is called the metaphase of meiosis. Metaphase literally means in the middle, so your chromosomes are paired up right in the center of the egg. I don't know why the ovary is designed this way biologically, but the reality is that your eggs are suspended in this metaphase stage from the time you are developing inside your own mother's womb. They remain in this held position, waiting, until the moment you ovulate. When ovulation occurs, those chromosomes finally separate, and you are left with what we traditionally think of as the mature egg, a single set of 23X chromosomes ready to be fertilized by sperm. Once fertilization happens, that combined genetic material becomes either 46XX or 46XY. The critical takeaway here is that these chromosomes are being held apart by tiny protein structures called meiotic spindles. Think of these spindles as little ropes or scaffolds that keep everything in perfect alignment. The longer those eggs sit there in that arrested state, waiting for ovulation, the more those protein spindles naturally start to break down over time. And as they degrade, the risk of abnormal splitting increases. Instead of the chromosomes dividing evenly, you can end up with an egg that does not have the correct 23X number. This is what we call aneuploidy, which simply means an abnormal number of chromosomes. This is exactly why age is the #1 most powerful determinant of egg quality. Every fertility doctor will tell you this, and it's simply because there is more wear and tear over time. If an egg has been sitting in that metaphase holding pattern for decades, there is a significantly increased chance that something will go wrong during that final division process. However, and this is the empowering part, there is nuance to this story. There are certain lifestyle and environmental factors that can cause these protein spindles to break down faster than they naturally would. Conversely, there are also things we can do that may slow down the rate of this degradation. This is precisely why we are seeing a growing body of evidence showing that the world around you, what you put into your body, what you put on your body, and the overall environment in which your eggs are developing truly does matter when it comes to egg quality. Now, I want to be completely transparent with you. You cannot turn back the biological clock. That is an absolute fact. This is why, if you are planning to undergo IVF, egg freezing, or trying to conceive naturally, being younger is always going to be advantageous. Youth often trumps other factors. However, we want to give ourselves the best possible chance at any age, and understanding what modifies egg quality empowers you to take meaningful action. I also want to quickly clear up a very common point of confusion: the difference between egg quality and egg quantity, which is your ovarian reserve. Your ovarian reserve refers to the number of eggs you have left in your ovaries at any given time. You could be young and therefore likely have good egg quality, but you still might be running out of eggs prematurely, meaning you have a low ovarian reserve. These two things, quality and quantity, are independent of each other. The one consistent rule, however, is that as we age, everyone experiences a decline in both. You will have fewer eggs over time, and the average quality of those eggs will also decrease. They just don't always decline in perfect sync. Egg quantity can be evaluated with a blood test called AMH, anti-Müllerian hormone, and an antral follicle count via ultrasound. These tests essentially measure how many eggs you have remaining. The two main factors that determine IVF success are the number of eggs you have, your ovarian reserve, and your chronological age, which reflects your egg quality. I have separate videos on AMH and ovarian reserve if you want to explore those topics in more detail. Now, here is a hard truth about testing. The egg is a single cell that is mostly filled with water, and it contains the precious DNA inside. Because it is one single cell, I cannot test that DNA without destroying the egg entirely. There is no blood test I can run that will say, yes, this percentage of your eggs is genetically normal. There is no non-invasive test for egg quality. However, we are not completely in the dark. We can look at established age-related norms and say, based on your age, here is what is likely to be genetically normal. This data comes from large infertility studies where we test embryos, not eggs. Remember, an egg carries solely maternal genetics, but once an egg is fertilized, it becomes an embryo with both maternal and paternal genetics. When that embryo grows into a multicell stage, traditionally at the blastocyst stage, which is about 300 cells, we can safely biopsy a few cells from the placental component, called the trophectoderm, without damaging the embryo itself. So we can test an embryo, but we cannot test an egg alone. This is one of the major limitations of egg freezing. I don't know exactly how many of your frozen eggs are genetically normal for you specifically. I have to make educated presumptions based on your age, and we have to move forward with those assumptions. This is a big advantage of making embryos. We can test them and tell you, for you, this specific percentage are normal. The disadvantages of making embryos are that it is more expensive, more involved, and it links you to one sperm source indefinitely, which may not be your personal desire. So, optimizing your egg quality is going to improve your chances of getting pregnant naturally, but it is especially critical if you are undergoing IVF or freezing eggs or embryos. You want to do everything in your power to tip the odds in your favor. If we look at the data on embryo genetics, here is what we see. For women under age 35, approximately 60% of their embryos are genetically normal. Around age 35, that number drops closer to 50%. By age 37 to 38, it's closer to 40%. At age 39 to 40, it drops to around 30%. At 41 to 42, it's closer to 20 to 25%. And over the age of 42, it is typically 10% or less of the embryos that are genetically normal. Now, if you are 42 and you only produce one embryo, the statistical odds are that it may not be normal. However, we don't know for sure until we test it. This is why your doctor might recommend doing multiple cycles to make the math work. You might do one cycle, then another, to get enough eggs to find that one genetically normal embryo. If you are older but have a high ovarian reserve, the math is more favorable. If you are younger but have a low ovarian reserve, the math is still probably on your side. When you are older and you have a low ovarian reserve, that is when you really need to have a serious conversation about your chances of success. With all of that said, let's finally get to the actionable part. How do you actually improve egg quality? That is the heart of this video. The number one thing to understand is that your eggs are incredibly sensitive. They are held in that delicate metaphase phase, which means they are highly vulnerable to toxins. And toxins are aptly named. They are toxic to these cells. For example, BPA has been shown to have a negative impact on egg health. Phthalates, which are found in many plastics and personal care products, are also harmful. And cigarette smoke? We know that drastically decreases both the quality and the quantity of your eggs. Marijuana has also been shown to decrease the number of embryos and their quality. These are all toxins in the environment around us. So, my advice is to stop smoking cigarettes and marijuana immediately. Look at the products you use daily. Stop drinking out of plastic bottles and containers. Stop cooking food in Teflon or non-stick pans. Stop microwaving food in plastic. Start transitioning your beauty products, your kitchenware, and your household goods to less toxic alternatives. These small, incremental changes genuinely make a difference because these forever chemicals build up in your bloodstream with repeated exposure, and we have robust data showing they destabilize the genetics inside the egg. The next major category to address is inflammation. Chronic inflammation is essentially toxicity inside the body. Inflammation can stem from a wide variety of sources, and I am a firm believer that the body is one interconnected system. It is unrealistic to think that if you are not sleeping enough, your body is going to perform at its peak, even if you feel fine on the surface. Let's break it down. First, sleep. Sleep is when your body heals cellular inflammation. That is when your cells repair themselves, when everything is reprocessed, and when your system clears out toxins. If you are not getting a solid 7.5 to 8 hours of quality sleep every single night, you are missing out on this critical healing window. Second, stress. If you are chronically stressed, your body is constantly running in a fight or flight mode. This keeps your cortisol levels persistently elevated. High cortisol not only shuts down the pituitary gland, which regulates your reproductive hormones, but it also causes widespread inflammation. Your body cannot properly digest food or clear out toxins when it is in survival mode, constantly ready to run from a bear. The human body was simply not designed to live in this chronic, high-stress world that we inhabit today. Stress is broad. It could be your work, a physical illness, emotional stress, or unresolved trauma. All of it matters. Addressing this stress, one way or another, is crucial. This is why practices like acupuncture, meditation, therapy, counseling, and yoga are so beneficial. Anything that allows you to take a moment away from your stress and release that cortisol can be extremely helpful for your healing. I recommend carving out at least 30 minutes a day for yourself, whether it's a walk outside, listening to the birds, getting an acupuncture session, meditating, journaling, doing yoga, or reading. Find what works for you and prioritize it. Next, we have diet. There are certain foods we know are inflammatory. Processed foods, added sugars, and red meat are all inflammatory triggers. Interestingly, research shows that the more servings of protein you get from vegetable sources rather than animal sources, the better it appears to be for your body. Dairy is a controversial topic, but looking at the data, whole-fat dairy is probably better for you than low-fat dairy. Why? Because low-fat products often undergo heavy processing, and manufacturers add synthetic ingredients to maintain texture and flavor, which can be more inflammatory than just having the natural whole-fat version. From a dietary standpoint, what I recommend for my patients is a low-inflammatory diet. That means focusing on whole foods. Eat a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. Do not restrict them. Include whole grains and complex carbohydrates. You do not need to avoid gluten unless you have a known sensitivity to it. If you have a family history of Hashimoto's, thyroid disease, or autoimmune disorders, you may have a sensitivity to gluten and should be mindful of that. I also recommend keeping your sugar intake low and avoiding processed foods as much as possible. The goal is to consume a diverse range of nutrient-dense foods that give your body exactly what it needs. Now, does this mean you can never have cake? Absolutely not. You should live your life and enjoy it. The goal is to be low inflammatory for the majority of your days to benefit your eggs and your overall health. If you have one piece of cake on your birthday, your body can handle that inflammatory load. It becomes a problem when your body is chronically challenged with inflammation day after day. Moving on to supplements, coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10 is probably one of the top supplements you can take. It helps support the mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of the cell. I also highly recommend folic acid and omega-3 fatty acids. These omega-3s are incredibly important for cell development, and they are essential when it comes to egg formation. We also see worse egg quality in cases of vitamin D deficiency, so I recommend everyone take an extra 1,000 IUS of vitamin D daily, on top of whatever is in your prenatal vitamin. Look for omega-3 fatty acids containing EPA and DHA in your prenatal, or take them separately. For CoQ10, the best studied dose is 200 milligrams taken 3 times a day. If you already have CoQ10 in your prenatal, you might need to take a little extra to reach that optimal level. Now, we get into supplements that are more specific to your individual circumstances. If you have endometriosis or another significant inflammatory condition, higher doses of vitamin C, vitamin E, and N-acetylcysteine (NAC) may be helpful. If you have PCOS, myo-inositol can be beneficial. If you have low ovarian reserve, DHEA may help improve androgen levels and egg quality. However, these are not supplements that you should just go out and take on your own. You need to take very specific supplements for your very specific health profile. Always talk to your doctor about what is right for you. Overall, maintaining a healthy weight is also crucial because being overweight is inherently inflammatory. So, think about this holistic picture. Sleep well, eat healthy, nourishing foods for your body, take the right supplements, maintain a healthy weight, and incorporate movement. When it comes to exercise, I don't recommend doing stressful, intense workouts all the time. High-intensity exercise without proper recovery actually causes inflammation. Does that mean you can never work out hard? No, of course not. Working out is fantastic for your body. But make sure you are treating your body with kindness, listening to its signals, and giving yourself plenty of time to rest and recover between intense sessions. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. As always, you can get more detailed information and guidance right here on this channel. I'm Dr. Emma Mary, and I'm here to support you on your fertility journey.